What's up? Hello, I'm Essence in case you didn't know, and welcome back to my channel. I'm back outside. The weather's warming up. I'm getting some serotonin from the sun lately, and I just kind of feel good filming outside. So we're gonna keep doing it until it's too hot to be out here in the Kentucky heat. So I wanted to come to you guys a little bit more casual than I normally do, because what I'm going to talk about today is something that I've never really talked about on any of my platforms. And it's a situation I'm not exactly sure how to address, but I feel like now is the time to do so. Recently, so yesterday, on Thursday, March 18th, so yesterday in relation to when I'm filming this, 2 days ago from when I'm posting this, I posted a podcast titled Let's Talk Body Yaddy Yaddy, where I talked about the body positive movement and my involvement or lack thereof. Received some disheartening or unexpected feedback from that, and even though I even said this in the podcast, if you haven't listened to it, you can go check it out on any major streaming platform, but I'll put the cover art right here. When I talked about Emma and her challenges, I even said that I never feel like we are owed explanations. God, this is rough. We are owed explanations from influencers or anything like that, but the case remains that I feel like I need to tell my story to clear some things up, and so that's what I'm gonna do. So one of the main things that I want to talk about that I've never talked about is my own personal eating disorder, what that has looked like for me, what that means for me, and where I am now with, there is a bird that is incessantly close, so sorry about that. But so it's hard for me to pinpoint exactly when I would say personally that my disorder developed, because as far as back as I can kind of remember, I've had some type of issue with my body or the way that my body presents itself to the world. Some of my earliest memories, and the first one that kind of jumps out to me, I was in elementary school, so for me, having a summer birthday and graduating like early, I would have been maybe, I want to say I was about 7 or 8, 9 at the oldest I would have been when this occurred. I wanted to lose weight. And I don't really remember where the concept came from or why I wanted to, or even what led to this point. But for myself, from this point is when everything started to kind of change. And I was at a cookout with my family and some family friends and stuff like that. And I was eating probably a burger or something, I don't remember, something on a bun. It was on a bun. And someone asked me if I wanted this or that. And I was like, oh no, I'm on a diet. Like, I was 7. I didn't know what that meant. And one of my cousins responded, you're not on a diet. If you're on a diet, how many calories is that bun? How many calories is that burger? How many calories are in those chips? You're not on a diet. Like, da 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 da. And I remember being embarrassed of what was on my plate and what was in front of me. And it made me not want to eat or to eat in front of other people. And as, you know, time went on and I continued to get older, I formed this, I can't even think of the right word. I want to say phobia, but I'm not sure if that's the correct word, but this phobia towards eating in front of others, eating, drinking, chewing gum, like putting anything in my mouth in front of other people. And once I hit middle school, so fast forwarding a little, once I hit middle school, the way that my middle school did lunch was like everyone of the same grade level had lunch at the same time. So everyone in the 6th grade, everyone in the 7th grade, everyone in the 8th grade had lunch together, and you had to sit at like a designated table at this point in time. And the table was everyone in your homeroom. And so and your homeroom is by last name. So typically the people that you had homeroom with then, you were going to have homeroom with all 3 years of middle school, and even some I had homeroom, advisory, whatever with all the way until I graduated in the 12th grade. And at this point, I was subconsciously restricting calories from myself because I didn't have a clear, even at this point, like I was in like the 6th grade, I want to say, 6th or 7th grade, probably 7th grade. I didn't really have a clear grasp of what it meant to count and restrict calories or carbs or anything like that, or even really how to track how many calories you were eating. And so to combat this, I would wait until like, the last 5 or 10 minutes of lunch to start eating, because if I don't have enough time to eat, then I will eat less. And I did this for that whole school year, pretty much. And one day I was sitting there, and me and this girl became really good friends for a while. And I know that she meant no harm in asking me this, and there's no way she could have. I'm like looking away from the camera and everything. This makes me so uncomfortable and nervous. There's no way she could have known what I was going through. But she made a comment about, why do you always wait to start eating until lunch is almost over? Like, why do you wait so long to start eating? She was like, are you not hungry? And I was like, oh, yeah, like, it's fine. Like, I just, I'm not really hungry. I don't even realize, like, I'm so busy talking and like laughing that I don't even realize like I'm not eating. And then I'm not super hungry. I just like eat a snack or something when I get home, which was definitely a lie. And she was like, oh, okay, girly, like, da-da-da-da-da. But that made me so skittish and like sick to my stomach that I would look for ways to not go to lunch anymore after that, like to not have to eat in the lunchroom after that. And any day or time that I had to, I would make a show of like eating as soon as I sat down, because if I ate as soon as I sat down, I could like take a bite or two here, and then in my mind, right, I could take a bite or two here and then a bite or two at the end, and it looks like it gives the illusion that I've been eating all of lunch, and I'm just a slow eater. I'm just not a big eater. And it's so weird to look back on and think, because in my mind now, if I saw someone doing that, it would cause some concern within me. But eating disorders and all of these things were so marginalized to myself and my friends and just the community that we grew up in at the time, that they were just things of fiction. And I wouldn't have even said at the time that I had an eating disorder, because I didn't know that that's what that was. And so I did this for a long time. And between middle school and high school, it got worse and worse, until in 8th grade, like I was doing the water and gum diet, where I would only like chew gum and drink water, for every meal until I was home, and then I would eat like one meal in front of my family. And then I did that. I did I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, the GM diet. So it's like this 7-day thing that was originally by General Motors, like the car company, for their employees. And it's like, on the first day you only eat fruit, and on the second day you only eat vegetables. And it's like, you want to spike your glucose, and then you want to do this, and then like you only eat bananas and milk for one day, and then you only eat tomatoes and cheese for one day, or what, like tomato day or something like that. And I did that diet so many times, because it was quick. I could, in my mind, I was losing weight, but I was losing water weight. And then eventually, as I started, so when I started high school, I also started social media. That's when I first started my blog. And I was posting photos of myself, and I was on Tumblr. And this is right around the time that Instagram became a thing. The lighting is shifting. The sun's not going down, it's just shifting from where I'm sitting. This is around the time that, like, for myself, Tumblr, so it would have been 2012 when I started high school. Like Tumblr was really taking off, and like Instagram was like a new thing, like Instagram was coming around, and it's when you really started to see like the rise of these like social media influencers, more similarly to what they are now. Because before, you really had just like Shane Dawson, like the Shane Dawsons, and like Joey Graceffa and Tyler Oakley. Those were like your social media influencers. Miranda Sings, and Colleen Bellinger, they're the same person, LOL. That was really what you were seeing on YouTube, and like on Instagram and stuff. That was the type of content that I was consuming. And so as these, like the Kai Jenners, the Kar Jenners, the Amber Roses and stuff like that, like these beautiful, perfect bodied social media influencers became more readily accessible to me, because Instagram made it to where I could look at these people, new and updated photos of them every single day. And then once you add in the addition of Snapchat, and I was seeing them almost in real time in my mind, it was just a constant pressure on me that if I wanted to stay in this business and if I wanted to make it, I had to look like them. And around my sophomore year is, trigger warning, is the first time that I ever purged. And I'll admit it, and I'm not proud of it, and I'm not glorifying it. I'm just telling my story in a very simplified way. Obviously, I could go on and on and on about different aspects, different years of my life, different times, what I was thinking, but I'm not ready yet. And so I just want to give the basics. And so around this time is when I first purged, and I was so obsessed with the idea of needing to be skinny and needing to be pretty. And I based my idea of pretty on not just celebrities, but people in my school, in my community, people in my family that I thought were pretty and beautiful and would blow me out of the water if they ever wanted to do what I did as far as like social media and work and content, were all very thin people. And the people that I was friends with were also in this toxic idea of we need to diet, we need to lose weight, we can do it together. God, I'm shining today. And so I was so lost in it. Like the background on my phone, I remember for the longest time, the background on my phone on my lock screen was, do you want to be hungry or fat? Do you want to be skinny or ugly? Just so many, just some of these toxic ideas and views that I had, and I was getting them from like pro Anna TikTok, pro ED TikTok, or no, TikTok, oh my god, pro Anna Tumblr. And I would like scroll, I would like type in, it was so easy, just pro Anna Tumblr, and I would scroll and I would see all these tips and tricks and ways that I could suppress my appetite, and ways that I could hide it, and ways that I could keep this going, even though subconsciously I knew it was unhealthy. I was working out secretly, obsessively. I was going running for multiple miles in the morning, and then I would like wait until my family was asleep, and I would purge, and then I would do a secret workout on my bedroom floor with slippers on to make sure my feet didn't hit the ground too hard. And it's just hard to talk about, but at the time I was so convinced that I was never going to be thin enough, and I was never going to be good enough, and I was never going to be pretty enough. It took a long time for me to look at myself and have kind of like that you're gonna die moment if you don't stop. And I think the first time I went into recovery was the summer before my junior year. So the summer that I turned 16, is when I finally really said, like, I was with my friends and we were back to school shopping in Nashville. I live close enough to Nashville. We had gone to the lake for the weekend, which is closer to Nashville than my home. And we were back to school shopping, and I was in the dressing room trying on clothes. And at this point, I was the smallest in my friend group. I was the skinniest, I was the smallest, I was the shortest, and I was also the youngest. So just by like months, but I was the youngest in my friend group. And we were in Nashville and in a Forever 21, and we were trying on clothes. And I had picked up a 4 in jeans, a 4. And I was trying to put them on, and they just wouldn't fit. And I remember at first I was like, maybe I just picked up the wrong size. So I went back out of the dressing room, and I got another one, and I was in the dressing room, and I was just willing them to fit. And I was pulling at the hem just over and over again, pulling at the button, and I was looking at myself in the mirror, and I was frantic. And the look on my face when I caught my reflection in the mirror wasn't someone that I recognized. I didn't look like myself anymore. I didn't feel like myself anymore. I didn't even know who myself was, because my whole personality had been morphed into, this is what's important. And I was just crying and screaming and causing a scene in the dressing room of a Forever 21 in Nashville, Tennessee. And my friends came in and were like, you need help. And I remember that night, I didn't get the jeans. I don't even think I bought clothes that day. And we went back to the lake house, and we were sitting there on the back patio, and I was trying so hard to seem okay. I was laughing, I was playing music, I was dancing to the music, I was talking about what we were gonna do, I was putting on a bathing suit to get in the hot tub, and they could just see right through it, and all I could see was 6, because the next size up was a 6, and I could just see that and the number on the scale. And I kept just throughout the whole night, and again, I'm sorry for triggering anyone with this video, the whole night I was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, wrist checking, and I was checking my ankle, and I was subconsciously feeling my face and just checking different parts of me, pinching my sides. And it wasn't even that I had gained weight. It was the fashion industry, and it was, this is such a hard video to get through. It was the fashion industry. It was, even though I couldn't fit the 4 there, I could fit the 4 in other stores. But it didn't matter. It was that I couldn't fit the 4 there. And me and my friends had a long talk that night about everything. And I just kind of came clean, and I confessed, and they didn't know that it was to the extent that it was. No one knew. And so I never went to therapy. I never went to a doctor or anything like that. I just recovered with my friends. And I say recovered in quotation marks because it wasn't recovery. It was avoidance. It was pretending like I was okay. It was trading one unhealthy habit for another. And around this time, I started drinking heavily at 16 in high school. I live out in like a sub town of the main city. And so like the drive into school is about 30 minutes. But my friend at the time lived like maybe 5 minutes away, and I have a busy household, so there's always someone here. And she was like the youngest of her family, and her parents worked, pretty time consuming jobs. So we were able to kind of be alone a lot of the time, and to hide stuff more there, and just had a little bit more freedom than we would have at like my house or my other friends' house. And we would come back from school, and we would we would eat, and then like 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, we'd already be drinking. And then we were smoking heavily. We were smoking 24/7. We were drinking 24/7. We were smoking before school. We were drinking and smoking after school. We were doing things that we shouldn't have been doing or even exposed to so young, but we were all fighting different demons. And it was just the only way we knew how to cope. And we thought we were coping together, and we thought we were helping each other. But in reality, that wasn't it. And I relapsed, obviously. And I've relapsed a few times between then and where I am now. But the reason I even, and so to wrap up just that, is that I recovered and relapsed 1,000 times. I've gone to therapy now that I'm older. I've gone to therapy. I've told my family and my friends and my doctors, and I've gotten help, and I am more aware, and my family's more aware, and my friends are more aware. And I have people that call me on my bullshit or call me on my BS and tell me when I'm falling back into unhealthy patterns. And it's still hard. There's still some days where I would rather swim across the ocean than eat a bowl of cereal. There's some days where I can't even look in a mirror and look at myself. There are days where I avoid showering because showering means getting naked and it means touching and looking and feeling my body. And it makes me queasy. I avoid wearing anything on my wrist. A lot of people know that I don't like my wrist to be touched or like messed with, but they don't really know the reason why. And it's from constantly wrist trekking that I don't wear, like if I have a hair tie or something around my wrist, it's always up here on my forearm. I wear watches, bracelets, everything on my forearm. Anything that has to go around my wrist, I just avoid. And so many other things. There are certain foods that I can't look at, trigger foods. There are certain smells that make me sick. There are certain days that I have, like dates within the calendar year, that are so ingrained in my mind that I shut down on those days. And there have been times recently and not recently where I've relapsed, whether it's a small relapse for a day or a couple week, month relapse. But I'm working on it and I'm trying. And the reason I say all of this is people can be mean. People can be so hurtful and so, I don't even know what word I'm looking for, but I posted this podcast about body positivity and why I don't consider myself body positive and all of this other stuff. And I got so much backlash. I had so many people calling me fat, saying that my eyes are too big for my face, that my head doesn't look right on my body, that I shouldn't comment about body positivity because how can you be positive about that body? Because I've worked so hard for so many years to appreciate it and to learn to love it and to learn to care about it. And I've taught myself that this body is okay. And it's okay to want to lose weight. I'm on a health journey, not a weight loss journey, but part of that health journey is losing a little bit of weight right now. But it's also okay for me to know and understand that because of my PCOS and because of all these other factors that I've gone into 1,000 times, that I've gained weight and I'm the heaviest I've ever been right now. And there are a lot of days where that makes me want to relapse. But there are so many other days where I don't. Where I'm okay and where I'm happy with the progress that I'm seeing. And even though I know I could do it faster and I know that there's an easier way to get the weight off, I'm so proud of myself for doing it this way. And so to share that joy, and that excitement with the podcast and to have it stripped from me so quickly and so easily, it's been a hard day. And it's just so unfortunate because I'm not gonna cry. Because Fridays are the days where I go and take my Instagram photos and I film and I do all of that on Fridays. And so I've had a lot of breakdowns today. I've cried a lot. I've deleted a lot of pictures. I've just so much stuff. Even forcing myself to come out here and film was hard. But I'm glad that I did it. This isn't what I planned to film today. I'm throwing off my upload schedule just a little bit. I have to go make a thumbnail for this video. And I don't even know what that's going to look like or what I'm even going to call this. Let's talk body yaddy yaddy part 2. The comeback. I don't know. But for everyone that didn't send hate. And again, I know it's weird when I talk about this following because my following on YouTube is still sucky right now. But I've been in the game for a really long time, guys. And so, for everyone that didn't send hate, for every nice Instagram comment, TikTok comment, YouTube or podcast feedback, I see you and I hear you and I appreciate you. And know that this video is not for you. And for everyone that left a mean or nasty or negative comment or feedback or whatever the case may be, know that I'm not angry with you. I just hope that whatever demons are troubling you to make you feel like you need to do that to others, you can face and that you can win. Okay. That was a lot. That was heavy. Are you good? Are you with me? Maybe one day I'll sit down and I'll write it out, a timeline, and figure it all out, and I'll go more into depth when I talk about it and give you guys a more full explanation of what my story was like, what my road to true recovery has been like, how I'm handling things now, especially during the pandemic. One day. Today just wasn't the day. I'm not mentally ready, and I hope you guys can understand that. But moving past that, as always, thank you guys so much for being here. I love you guys so much. You can keep up with me on my other social medias. You can listen to my podcast under the same name as my YouTube channel, Diary of a 20-something, or you can keep up with me on TikTok or Instagram. Those are both 2 underscores, Essence with an extra E at the end, and I'm on Snapchat at Essence Loves You. All right, you guys, that's all I've got. Read my book if you haven't. New book coming soon, and I will see you guys next time.